And welcome back to episode 16 of Twilight 2000, the solo campaign of Twilight 2000. Episode 16, the clock is ticking. Thank you very much for joining me. If you are a regular, thank you for sticking with me for all 16 so far. If you are new, may I suggest you subscribe, and then you'll be able to see the remaining episodes and know when they come up. And some of the new things that we begin doing on the channel as well. If you would like to hit the thumbs up and like, that would be awesome sauce. And we can get some of that algorithm going. And if you have any questions or any comments or would like to give me some ideas, I've a few people who've been putting in some ideas and some thoughts, and I'm playing them around in the old head. We can see. So. This episode will follow. This follows on from we had a bit of a skirmish where we went to the Mad King. Everything went a bit badly, and Staff and Jane had to do a run. Now, somebody asked how I got the map from for the Mad King's establishment out of ChatGPT, and so I said I'd cover that, and so I'm going to quickly cover. So you can skip forward a few minutes. I'll put in the thing how many minutes, or maybe I'll try and do chapters. But I said I'd do this at the beginning, so I'm going to quickly do it. That bit that I just cut was me picking up my phone, because the GPT app is on my phone and I can read out. And I'll also put in the description what I did. So I didn't use my phone to do this. I used the web app for GPT, and I subscribed to GPT Plus. So I was using GPT Plus to do this. Basically, what I did is, here we go. So what I did was, first off, I always say good morning to GPT, or good evening. I then described Twilight 2000. I made sure I understood Twilight 2000. I then said it's an encounter for the Mad King's village. I'll cut and paste this into the description so you can see exactly the wording. I described the village. I said it has how many people approximately in the village it would be, what sort of weapons it would be, and GPT did an image, and I'll put that up now. The first image, I'll put it up now. I then said, can you please make the houses look more modern? Because if you have a look at that image, you'll see that they look a bit shack-like. It then did a second one. I then said that's brilliant, but what I wanted was it to look like there were some roads. And so I just said, I love that one, but could you put a more modern road through the middle? And then that third one was the one that we saw and we used last week. Basically, that's all it was I just gave a big long description, which I'll put into the description of this video, describing everything I could, and I ended by saying, please could you make it look like it's a picture taken by a scout with a simple camera, or using sketching. So like a scout would go and sketch. And that was it. And then GPT did the rest of the work. GPT added all the bells and whistles and all the frills based on my description. So I'll put in the text and I'll put the images up for here, and that probably took about 1 minute something of your time. Anyway, there we go. That's how I got the map out of ChatGPT. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to begin this episode very much like a TV show, very thing that we are going to start with the last scene, which was Staff shooting our prisoner, Alexander, shooting Alexander, who was sitting eating an MRE in the camp, and Alexander falls, and then we will cut to black as Alexander falls, and we will see on the screen, what would that be? That would be 48 hours earlier. So we'll say 48 hours earlier, but what we're going to do is we're starting on the evening of the 30th. So I went back through my notes, and on the 30th of April, that's when in the morning everyone was together and everyone slept. Staff took watch, and then during the day Jane took watch, Staff slept, Doc did some cooking, and that's when Jack did the weapons cleaning that we discussed earlier. But in the evening shift, that is where Jane and Staff set off to try and go scout out the Mad King's camp. Doc went off to get water, so at this point we will see them all saying goodbye, Staff and Jane going off, and Doc goes off to get some water as Jack keeps supplies. This is where Alexander will begin to attempt to speak to Jack, but because he's if anyone's Liverpudlian, I do apologise, but because he's Liverpudlian, I'm saying he doesn't know how to speak Polish. I'm not even giving him a role, or Russian, so he doesn't know how to speak Russian. I'm not even giving him a role. Jack, I'm going to write it down on Jack's character sheet. Jack can't speak Russian, so he's not even getting a role for that. He's a grease monkey, and he's no good at languages. I do apologise if also anyone is a mechanic and fluent in multiple languages. I am very much generalising. I'm sorry. And so then we would see Doc coming back with loads of water. Right there, like his. Did you get lost this time? And Doc goes, oh, so they told you about that, did they? Anything to be spotted? And this is actually because we didn't draw an encounter for this. Oh, and I've also got on my notes that Jack and Doc took 1 rad each. So they both took, I've got it written down, temporary radiation. 2 seconds, I'll need to double check about, I think it's something like you roll a d6 for radiation and then it gets transferred over. Yeah, so when you left a hotspot, 1 rad will leave your body every day. So at the end of today, 1 rad will leave. We roll a d6 for both of them. If we get a 1, then they keep that rad. So we'll do Doc. Doc loses it, and Jack loses it. So they both lose the radiation without getting any sicker. Let me just double check whether that you do a health roll or it's only if you keep it. Because I remember last time they kept it and they nearly failed and they were going to get sick. Yes, every time you gain a rad, you immediately make a stamina to resist the radiation poisoning, otherwise you get sick. But they both didn't gain it, so that we will remove their temporary radiation because both of them are stock full. In fact, Jack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jack has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They both have 6. They're both quite irradiated. In fact, I think all of them are. Barring Staff. Yeah, all barring Staff. Staff is the only one who's kept himself as clean as he can. Anyway, I digress. So, that was the night shift. We need to roll. No, we rolled the encounters for that. So then that night they fall asleep, and in the morning, Doc, we said Doc was going to keep watch. I can't remember if I rolled for it. Yep, he got 3 hits. But I didn't roll an encounter card, and Jack slept in that morning shift. So this is the morning of the 1st of May. We have what they do in the morning of the 1st of May covered, which is Doc watches, Jack sleeps, but from the rest of that, we don't have anything else covered, and that's where we will pick up what Jack and Doc are doing, and Doc beginning to attempt to interrogate, ask Alexander questions. So this is the encounter that Doc will see. Final rest, which is movement, daytime or nighttime. So this doesn't count. Somebody once said a lot of the encounters seem to be missed, but for instance, if we did have a massive encounter now, that would completely throw my plans out. So luckily we didn't. So during the day, now we know the weather was good because we rolled that for Staff and Jane. So Doc will wake up and Doc will wake Jack up and go, right there, okay. So one of them needs to keep watch because that's what's been happening. Alexander was injured, if I remember rightly, and so Doc might go and tend to Alexander, which will give him a chance to speak to him, and Jack is going to be on watch. So Jack is going to keep watch. Doc is going to tend to and begin interrogating Alexander. So Jack will keep watch. We'll do that one first, and then we'll switch to Doc talking to Alexander during the, what are we on? We're on day shift. During the day shift, because then we'll have the evening shift, and then on the night shift, that's where Staff and Jane will return. And maybe during the evening and night shift, they will hear shots out in the distance and know something's happening if they roll high enough for watch. So first off, we've got Jack, who's on watch. So that's his recon, which is a D12, D8. We don't need to give him any minuses. And he doesn't have, in fact, he doesn't have any. In fact, if I remember right, Jack doesn't even have a uniform on. Jack isn't even wearing fatigues. So he has a steel helmet, but he doesn't have a flak vest and he doesn't have fatigues. What he's got written down, I think he would have got an M16 from that last bit, but it says he's just got a shotgun. Jack gets no hits for his watch. So we will do Doc, and then we'll need to roll a right encounter, otherwise I'll forget. Because I mean, if you've watched enough of these, then you're beginning to you'll begin to know what my memory's like, particularly in the heat of doing stuff, and I forget stuff. So Doc is going to attempt to speak to Alexander. Now, I think I will roll. Let's see, will he, does he, I can just turn, like basically I can just turn around and say he speaks Russian, and I can't remember if we've rolled for Doc previously, but he has a D10 intelligence, which I think is pretty good, and I'm going to give him a D10 intelligence. Actually, I'm going to switch it to a D12. So I'm giving him a boost, a +1, that he knows how to speak Russian. Double hit. That'll do me. So Doc can speak Russian. I'm going to say and Polish. So Doc can speak Polish and Russian. So he's going to go over and he's going to attempt to tend to Alexander's wounds. I can't remember what the wounds are, but we're going to make him just do a medical roll. And if he gets hits, we'll say that Alexander then gets to full health. He got 1 hit, and so because of that 1 hit, so Alexander goes to full health. And Doc is going to start talking to him in Russian. So you were stationed in Stressov? Oh, I could do an awful Russian. I'm not too sure if I can do a Russian. Oh, I'm trying to think Russian. I should be able to do it. I've watched enough films and I shouldn't be able to do a Russian accent, but I can't. Yes. And so what's happening there? I'm just going to do English. The captain is Captain Jacobs. We have decided that we're going to take the town of Astressov, and that is where we are now stationed. So it's an official. You're an official, officially there. I do not have to speak to you. So at the moment, Doc is just going to attempt to persuade him. Now, I was reading up about interrogating. And interrogation, so if he just tries to talk to him, persuade him, then it's the Doc's persuasion against his persuasion. And I don't know if Doc will actually try interrogating him. Interrogating is against the stamina because it's hardcore and you use interrogation techniques. Instead, Doc is just trying to talk to him. So this would be a Soviet soldier so his persuasion, which is empathy, gives him an empathy of C, which is a D8. And he doesn't have persuasion at all. So the soldier gets a D8, he gets 1 hit. That was unexpected. Doc has persuasion of D8 and D12. So so the guy's a captive. So the guy got 1 hit. All right. So Doc is going to say, I really think it would be in your best interest to speak to me. I mean, I'm tending you. I'm making sure that you're healthy. I've got food that I can get for you. And we can just talk and you can tell me what you know, and perhaps possibly I can help you and you can help me. But unless you speak to me, there's nothing I can do. And I can tell you this, Staff Sergeant, I can't remember his name, it's Robert. Oh, Finn, isn't it? Robert Finn. Finn. Staff Sergeant Finn is not a kind man. I do not expect Staff Sergeant Finn is going to treat you in any way like I am. So if you speak to me, possibly I can put in a good word with you as Staff Sergeant, and he can then possibly let you go. You can go back to Astressov. We can leave the area and you can go back. And so maybe Doc will go get some rations just to sort of show willing. And so I will give him a +1, which will give him a D12, D10. So Doc rolls 2 hits, which beats his 1 hit. And so the guy is going to come round and start to talk to Doc a bit, but he'll only go so far with his information, and then Doc's going to have to sort of push harder, because what it says about negotiating positions is you state what you want and then you do the roll. And so what Doc has stated is he wants to know about the positioning. And so Alexander will say about, which we've already discussed, if you remember back when they encountered a stress off, Alexander will say that they basically deserted the Russian army. They're no longer officially affiliated with the Russian army. They don't like to see themselves as marauders or criminals. They just realise that the world has changed, the governments have collapsed, and there is no Russian army anymore. So they have just decided to go alone and go on, and their commander, their captain, the commander, the man in charge, Jacobs, has always done well by them, always looks after them, always makes sure that they get fed properly and they get entertained, and that they get drink when they need it. He has always provided them with good weapons, better weapons than the Russian army did, better functionality than the Russian army did, and so they are now following him, and more men are joining, and that was the truck that we saw coming afterwards. And he was, because this is, I'm trying to remember because it was quite a while ago, he was kidnapped, they captured him when they went down, this was at the roadblock. He was captured at the roadblock, wasn't he? And so he will then say that they knew that there's somebody this was set up, actually this sets up. So he gives that much information, because there's more that actually leads into a sort of finale that I've got in my head, which might be quite cool if I can get the dice rolls and interpret them to make it work. So Doc is then going to start pushing a bit harder to find out more about why was there a roadblock there. But why did you have because we don't remember seeing roadblocks earlier. Why have you constructed a roadblock? And then he's going to be a bit cagey. So the guy, what did I say? It was a D8. So the guy is going to be cagey when he mentions roadblocks. he got a nothing. Doc is just going to get a straight roll because he's being cagey. Doc gets 2 hits. So he's going to say, Doc is going to be a bit persuasive. Maybe he's going to dig out, I don't know, some M&Ms or something, and offer him those. And he's going to, Alexander will say, yeah, well, we have been getting lots of these supplies. The captain was able to gain us a huge amount of supplies just recently. Only a few days ago, we were able to get lots of supplies. Now, Doc is going to know that is from the ambush, which is where Jack and Harrison actually came from. And also there was their comrade who died, who I don't know if we generated a name for the comrade who died whilst Doc was tending to him. So we'll flash back to Doc covered in blood trying to save that dude's life, who then died. And then Doc is going to look across to Jack. Of course, they're talking Russian, so Jack has no idea. Jack will be looking across going, I don't think Staff's going to like this, he's not going to be happy with you, Doc. He said, I did that quite well. He's not going to be happy with you, Doc. He's going to be pissed off, man. He's not going to be happy. As this is whilst Jack is keeping watch, which I need to roll that encounter. Doc is going to keep talking to Alexander, and so Doc to get, because we haven't done this bit, saying, so why did you get the roadblock? Why was there a roadblock there? He's going to, we have noticed that there are people operating, which I assume must be you, in the area. We had reports that there was a couple of patrols had gone missing and hadn't returned, and so we were making sure that the area was secured. We've also heard rumours that there were some Americans operating in the area, and we wanted to make sure that we were keeping the roads clear and making sure Ostressov did not have anyone coming in all of a sudden. We weren't expecting you to come from Ostressov. Oh no, you see, we came around Ostressov. And so are you the people? I don't know who you're talking about. We've only just recently moved into this operational area. We're basically heading. I'm now going to make Doc make an intelligence roll, whether Doc is going to let stuff slip, because Doc always makes mistakes. We're heading west, ultimately. We need to return back to the German border. We've been recalled. But there is no governments to recall you. There's no armies anymore. We are only functioning the way we function now because we need to survive. So now we'll reach, so they've been talking for a while. Doc's been going over, Doc's also attended him. So now we'll do Jack's encounter roll, and then we'll get to, which is basically rolled 0 hits. Then we'll get to our evening shift. Is there anything else that he could do? All right, hold on, we'll do one last thing. We'll have Doc, because Doc got some interesting information out of Harrison, who was an officer. Is an officer. We don't know if he's died. It's highly likely, because I don't think the Mad King's going to be very happy with his missing half face and his bust jaw. I still haven't worked out how long that he's going to take to heal, but I've got a feeling that he will be getting a posse together to come find this. Someone mentioned about using McCoy. There's another thing, don't forget, 2 hunters came past the camp here. Doc fixed them up. Staff had a chat to them to find out stuff about the Mad King. They will tie 2 and 2 together with rocket launchers going through, and if either of them saw Jane or Staff, they would recognise them from this camp. And so it wouldn't be difficult for the Mad King to then get that information to him and then get a posse to come here imminently. So at the moment, at this point in time, on the 1st of May, the encounter has occurred. The skirmish is taking place right now, across a couple of hexes, like 20 kilometres away, 20, 30 kilometres away. Jane is getting shot, Staff is going down, McCoy is getting kicked right now. So, do you know of anything interesting in the area that you might like to share? Possibly, and this is where Doc will untie Alexander to make sure Alexander's untied. And maybe, so what we've got the evening shift next and then the night shift. So maybe we'll do that actually in the evening shift, because then Doc can feed Alexander at the end of the evening shift. And that's where Alexander may give out more information, and Jack is going to be really annoyed. So Jack is going to do his encounter roll. If you ever see a cut before I'm doing an encounter, that's because I shuffle the cards extensively, and I'd cut that out so you don't have to just watch me staring into the middle distance shuffling. All right, so we've got in the woods, hunter. It's hunters and their prey. Hunters laying in wait for the prey. They hail the PCs and try to barter for ammunition or weapons. They have knives and hunting bows with 5 arrows each and enough raw meat for D6 rations of food. We could have Jack. So if we were running this, Doc has got lots of interactions happening because Jack doesn't speak Russian or Polish. And so we've got this bit. So maybe Jack is going to do Jack goes off on a bit of a patrol, just around the area, just having a scout around, which he doesn't get any rolls. And Jack is going to roll recon again, and the hunters are going to roll recon, and we're going to see if they bump into each other. So we'll do a hunter's recon roll first. So we'll have, so if this is PCs divided by 2, this is a lone hunter. He's out, and he's coming back with some, I don't know, he's got like a couple of smallish, maybe like a ferret, or a couple of rabbits, or maybe a couple of birds just strung over his shoulder. So actually we'll roll a d6. He's got a rabbit. He's got a rabbit hung over his shoulder, and he's got a small rifle. Maybe he's even got like a 2-2. It's not even like a full-blown rifle, it's a 2-2. So he's only hunting small prey, and he wanders out. He has got an intelligence of C and a recon of C, which is a D8, D8. So it's a good day. D8, D8. He gets no hits. And Jack has intelligence of, no, Jack has intelligence, Jack's really smart. Jack has an intelligence of a D12 and a recon of a D10. Oh, that's because of his tag. Jack is a good mechanic. Jack has 1 hit. So basically they almost bump into each other. but Jack just catches himself before they walk into a copse the same, and Jack will but they still see each other, so Jack can't avoid this. So Jack's going to raise his rifle and tell him to stand still. The bloke is going to look terrified and drop his rifle and just go up. Jack is then going to speak. Do you speak English? No. Right there. All right. Do you speak English? Do you speak English? And the guy who has intelligence of C, which is a D8, no, he's going to go, you don't speak English, like? Oh, bloody hell. Is that your rabbit? And he's pointing the shoulder. And do you want to trade? So Jack, I can't understand each other. I don't know. All right, let's do. Jackie's going to make an empathy roll. Jack, on the other hand, is with persuasion D8, D6. No hits. So they're going to basically just going to do hand signals. The hunter's going to do like that. Jack's going to go like that. Point at the rifle, so pick it up and just tell him to bugger off. And the hunter's going to go pick it up his rifle and bugger off. And that person who asked, why do I always involved in like missing encounters? That's why. So Jack encounters someone, comes back and goes, you never guess what, like, just bumped into someone, quite literally bumped into them. And then Jack will tell the story to Doc, and we will do, that is the day shift. We will then switch to the evening shift. Now the evening shift, I can't remember what the weather was like for the evening shift. So in this area, it's still okay. So it's still good weather. So it's in fact, the sky is going a bit red. Do you know the saying? Red sky at night, shepherd's delight. Red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning. Or in this world, Twilight 2000, red sky at night, something's on fire. Red sky in the morning, no one's there to put it out. And so we've still got Doc and Jack. Now Doc is going to stay with Alexander and stay talking to Alexander. So Doc is maybe going to cook and keep talking, so keep interrogating Alexander, who is now fully healed up. Jack is going to potter and start packing stuff away and make sure that they've got enough stuff and kit. But he's also going to keep watch. So we'll roll Jack's watch first. D12, D12, D8. But it is evening, and I think, well, dusk. No, we'll call that night shift. We could give him -1. We'll give him -1 because it's evening, which is D10, D8. Jack gets 2 hits. 2 hits for watch. Okay, so when we roll for the watch, so Jack, because of the watch getting 2 hits, Jack is hearing shots out in the distance, but not towards where he knows the Mad King and where Staff and Jane went. He's hearing shots from further into the woods, and so, because unbeknownst to him, Staff and Jack had done that. Staff and Jane had done that. I'm very terrible with names as well. You notice that I drop the wrong name in all the time. I watch back editing these videos and think I could correct that, but nah. Staff and Jane had done that circle round to attempt to come round. So Staff and Jane had come around this way in attempting to lose the hunters in the chase. And so Jack is hearing shots from over here in the wrong direction. So Jack's going to be a bit wary. And this is where Doc is going to continue trying to interrogate, to talk to Alexander and see if there's any more information that he can get out of him and be useful. So when Staff comes back, Staff could be quite proud of him. And so Doc is going to roll his D12, D8 for persuasion. I mean, I don't think Doc's the sort of person who's going to start doing, you know, shouty, starving interrogation stuff. Doc is the sort of person who's going to try giving him food, treating him nicely, and persuading him to talk. So Doc gets 2 hits in trying to persuade him. So Doc is making food and cooking and has asked Alexander to come and sit with him. So whilst he's cooking food, Doc's asking, what sort of food do you like? Where did you grow up? Tell us some family stories. Tell me about your mother. I'll tell you about my mother. That's Blade Runner. And now Alexander gets one hit. So Alexander kind of knows what Doc's doing, but he's falling to like having someone talk to him, have someone sort of pay attention, and he's not really been used to that. He's been in a very sort of aggressive environment just recently, and particularly when he starts to asking stories about like childhood and stuff, he starts to really start talking, and then Doc is going to ask about some information, and this is where I think we will roll. We will do an oracle, which is the further elements oracle. We're going to use maybe where's the descriptor and the things. So things, Alexander is going to tell him about. What we've got 6 weapons. All right, Alexander is going to mention something about weapons. And this is what the descriptor word we will use. Weapons, and we've got an ace, shot up. All right, so maybe. All right, what else can we do? Traits. There's a traits one. An encounter type. All right, I'm going to use the encounter type one. Encounter type one is it uses both the suit and the value. So clubs, queen of clubs, abandoned. Awesome. That works fine. All right, so Alexander is going to mention to Doc that there is. What shall we make it? What can we do? What thing can we do? What table has some things? We can try. Let's do things. All right. So that was weapons. No. People. Yes, we're going to use a people one. 7 survivor. All right. So there is. All right. So I know. So they hit an American convoy not that long ago, and we will make it. We'll make it on the way. Let's make it here. I think I've got. Here we go. So this is where are we? Can you see it? So this is where we are. This is where they're questioning. If this is where Ostresov is, then we'll say that it's somewhere over here. So in this area over here, they encountered an encampment with American troops, and he's not too sure what the vehicle was because he doesn't know what American vehicles are, but they shot up an American vehicle which was heavily armoured, and they know that they shot it up, but they don't think it was broken, but they couldn't get it going because none of their engineers could actually get it going. But they said it was definitely functional, and so Commander Jacob knows about it there, and he believes there's at least 1 or 2 survivors who got away. 1 or 2 survivors that got away and are still hiding out in the woods in that area over there. So that then gives us something that we can head towards before then we head towards the other weapons cache that we know about over here. And so Doc is going to give him, so that's the evening, Doc will give him the food, and then he's going to be quite happy with that. Let's do a quick encounter for Jack, who got his 2 hits. Okay, it's the Mad King. So that is going to be Jack hearing the shots and thinking, oh, something bad's going on here. And so he's going to be keeping his eye out, which is why in the evening shift that we said that Jack made successful, I remember, Jack successfully made a check on the evening shift to hear and spot Jane and staff coming back into the camp, and so they're just going to be settling down. So we'll do the night shift, including them. So Jack is hearing the noise, and then Jack night shift. We've got so beginning of the night shift, so not night shift properly, so possibly still into the evening shift. Jack is on watch as staff and Jane approach. We've got Doc is sitting talking to Alexander, and they're just sort of finishing eating and considering then it's time to bed down, as this is where staff then comes in. So our episode catches back up with what's been happening. Staff comes in, does his, that went bad. That went so bad, you would not believe it. Alright? Are you two alright there, like? They're following us. Are you alright there, Jane? Right. Pack up our stuff. We need extra packs because me and Jane here, we've lost our stuff. We ain't got the radio no more. We ain't got our food no more. We've got to get as much of our stuff together as we can, and we've got to, what's he doing sitting there? Bang. This is where then we catch up with time. Doc, I'm going to make Doc make a coolness under fire check. If Doc fails his coolness under fire check, then Doc is going to look stunned as everybody else is going to get stuff ready. If Doc passes it, then we'll have some confrontation between Doc and staff that I may have to do as roles, because I don't know, like, I don't know how Doc will react after building a bond with Alexander and then seeing Alexander getting killed in front of his face. He's definitely going to be taking a couple of stress points, and it may be just too much for him to bear. I mean, even Jane, after what they just went through, is not going to be that bad about it. She's not going to want that dude. She's just going to want to go. But what we do now know is that the Mad King knows there's someone out here and has been sending scouts out and has got roadblocks going on. The Mad King may even, here, we'll do this now. Does the Mad King know? No. Does Commander Jacob know? Does Commander Jacob know about the Mad King? Well, I'm assuming he does. I'm assuming he will know about the Mad King and that they would have had confrontations with each other. Because if they do, then Jacob in Ostresov will have had patrols out and would know that it's been hit. So red high means that yes, Jacob knows about the Mad King and then they don't get on well. Black high means that they do get on well. So what's that? That's black high. So black high is that Commander Jacob did know and they get on well. So black low would have been, it doesn't really know about him very much, and red low would be doesn't know about him. So black high, king, Commander Jacob knows about the Mad King's establishment and they get on all right. They get on all right. They're not like bestest buddies, but they get on all right. So next is, does Commander Jacob know from scouts about what happened this morning? Red is going to be, no he doesn't, because it's going to be good for the team. Black, yes he does, because it's bad for the team. Black, mid, mildly dangerous, yes, he's just found out. So Commander Jacob knows that a team has hit the Mad King's establishment. He knows that they didn't get away with anything and they ran away. And he knows that they're being chased in the woods around his establishment, Ostresov, but he doesn't know what it is. So he will have imminently teams coming out. So staff has now stepped in. So we know, I'll write this down. So I can't remember if he was a commander or a captain. I think he's a captain, Captain Jacob. So Captain Jacob knows that there's people in the woods and he's friendly with, yeah. friendly with Mad King. Okay, so the Mad King, we still need to do health for Mad King, because the Mad King's going to put a patrol out. So basically Jacobs has the patrols out looking now, and he's got enough men that he can do some certain, he's got enough men. So what we're doing, Doc's CUF, Cornice Under Fire, which is a D8, D6. Doc fails the Cornice Under Fire, which means that Doc is stunned. Starts going, Jack, start packing up some packs. I need a full pack for me, full pack for Jane. Jane, grab as much ammunition as you can, love. Get yourself a new M16, and we got to get ourselves tooled up. I've lost my sniper rifle. I'm going to need a hunting rifle, love, and I'm going to need ammunition for it. Can you sort it out? Yes, Staff. I'll be right to it, Staff. No problem. All right, there, like, no problem, Staff. You know who it is. So Jackie's going to start packing stuff up. Janie's going to start packing stuff up. Doc is looking shocked. Staff's going to go, you, get that body, drag it out of here. Why did you do that? Because he's dead weight, mate. And we've got to go, because if we stay here, we are dead. We are absolutely done for. Because me and the young'un there, we were nearly done. McCoy, he's gone. We're done now. We've got to get out of this area as quickly as possible. I don't think Doc is in any fit state to tell Staff about the vehicle at this point, but maybe as they start to travel, they'll start to talk a bit more. What is he going to do? What is Staff going to... All right, so what we'll do is, first off, we'll use the parts per million table, which is if I do a Jack, Queen, King or Ace, something different is going to come up. Otherwise, we are going to say that Doc will make an empathy check. Actually, what we'll do is we'll make Doc and Staff do an opposed empathy roll. A 3, so Doc is going to act the same way as Doc would normally act. So we will make Doc and Staff make an opposed persuade roll. Though Doc does have command and Doc is trained in command, the dynamic has been set up slightly differently. So Staff has a persuade of a D8, D6. D8, D6, but I'm going to boost that to a D8, D8 because he's got a show of force. So Staff gets 2 hits. Doc has an empathy of a 12 and a persuade of a D8. I'm not going to give him a minus. He can just keep it as it is. Doc has no hits, so which really helps me. So at this point, because I'm going to give Doc 2 stress or 3 stress, maybe 3 stress. So Doc is now under stress, and Doc is going to start doing as he's told, because he's been overpowered by Staff, who's just come in with a show of force. Get everybody out of this camp and get your medical stuff packed up. I want you to have a full pack packed up, ready to look after us. We are going to get into skirmishes very soon, and you best be ready to keep us alive. And so he will then drag the body out, and then he's going to start getting his stuff packed together. And that is where we will leave them at the night of the 31st. So we need to go into the 2nd of May morning. They will all, yes, they will all be, oh no. Jack is the only one. Jack will not be fatigued. Jack will not be sleep deprived. I need to do XP for everyone. So I'll do XP for everyone before next session, because the person who said don't do XP in front of you. Jack is the only one not sleep deprived, and they will be, and then we'll do their equipment. And I will do that between now and next session, and then I'll update you. That's all right. That's an all right length. I think this is going to come out about 40 minutes. So we will then start to head west at speed, and I am going to, I don't know if I mentioned it, so this is what I was thinking. I'm going to create 2 clocks, stealing the idea from The Walking Dead, and they will be for Commander Jacobs' teams to find us, and the Mad King is going to come looking for us. And so as we move on, we will roll every shift or every day that we progress the clocks and see if it progresses to a point. I might make them shorter than the standard Walking Dead 6 segments and make them 4 segments, because 4 segments will chase us to the end of the 20 that I was hoping to do. And maybe we'll see how far we can get west before the proverbial hits the fan. Thank you very much for watching through this. We've now caught up. Everyone is now together. We have a piece of information that we didn't have previously, and we have some fractions that will definitely happen between Doc and staff, possibly. And who knows, possibly we might get McCoy if they decide to use McCoy to track us down, which was also suggested. Again, thank you very much for watching. If you liked, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please consider it. As I said at the beginning, it really does help things out. It will then help the channel grow, and it will help, basically, it will help me, because if the channel gets to a certain point and a certain number of subscribers, it gets monetized, I can buy more things and I can channel more time into doing this, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm very, very grateful for you all for watching, and it's really awesome. And I'm grateful for all the comments and the interactions that we have. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. I will let you get on, and I will see you next time for more Twilight 2000. See ya.